Welcome to Process Unboxed, where we break open the future of process management one conversation at a time. My name is Alicia Payne, and I'm thrilled to be here today sharing this conversation, the first in our series here today. I'm a Senior Account Manager here at Nintex, and with me today, I'd like to introduce Keith. Would you like to share more about yourself?
Of course. Thank you very much, Alicia. My name is Keith Payne. I'm Regional Vice President for Nintex for Asia Pacific, and I'm really excited today to share some of my insights on how great leadership can help organizations to improve their processes by giving people the power and the safe space to come to the table with ways of making their life and their work better.
And Danny.
Hi, I'm Danny Burns. I'm a Director here of Product at Nintex. I'm here today to talk to you about digital transformation and how great tools and products can help you on your journey to efficiency.
Fantastic. I'm so excited to be here with you both. Without further ado, let's get started with the chat.
Okay.
Keith, I'd like to get started with you first. So, based on your experience building successful teams in APAC, what key leadership qualities help build a united, purpose-driven team that achieves great results in today's fast-paced digital world?
Well, thank you. I think the key word is purpose-driven. And any good leader will know that without purpose, we can't get passion. And what we need to do is make our people passionate about the way in which we show up for work and the efficiencies that we drive through that. I'm really passionate myself about creating a safe space for people to be able to come to the table, understand where they can do things better, smarter, and quicker. And so I feel like if, as a leader, we're able to create an environment and a culture that fosters that, then great things are going to happen. I also think that we need to think about the concept that lots of small improvements actually contribute to big improvements over a period of time. So we'll have a conversation a little bit more about what I'm hearing from C-suite leaders around that shift from very large transformation projects into very small but agile and effective process transformation improvement projects.
Yeah, awesome. I think you've hit a key theme in terms of those small projects adding up to big things in the end. So I'm really looking forward to diving into that with you.
Thank you. There is a saying that shavings make a pile.
Oh, I think I've heard that one before. Yeah, thanks, Keith.
I love that. I also just want to add in cross-functional collaboration is also a real cornerstone of successful transformation here. Leaders that can foster cross-functional environments really drive success when you're aligned to a shared goal. And those are the kind of deliveries that when you work together, you can just maximize the value of the combined. So I really think that it's another thing to call out.
Yeah.
It is. And what's really exciting as part of this session is that we're going to actually have a conversation about how you test your processes with a very special thing that we've created called a process maturity calculator, and that's just a little sneak peek as to what's coming later.
Looking forward to sharing more. So, Keith, you've seen Nintex solutions deliver incredible results across diverse industries and cultures. Can you share an example where a C-suite leader successfully used an automation to address a major business challenge?
Yeah, so in my role, I'm so fortunate that I get to speak to a lot of C-suite people. My heritage is around finance transformation. So most of the last 20 years, I've been speaking with CFOs, but also I've seen the role of the CFO change. Back in the day when I first started, all of my conversations used to be with CIOs, but now the CIO would tend to report into the CFO, and the office of the CFO really controls everything within an organization, from the traditional finances and the ERP, but much more than that these days. In fact, they're also the custodians of data and analytics. And the stories that I hear that are really successful is when a CFO has a team in place that's able to deliver insights and analytics to their lines of business, so that their lines of business have the ability to be able to go out and find areas to improve. It's that basic principle of quality management. It's around, you can't manage what you can't measure. So let's give our team some great insights that they can self-serve, and then come back to us, or come back to the CFO or their line of business owner, and make some really good suggestions about what's next to automate, what processes do I feel that I can that can turn the needle. But I think what's also really important when it comes to allowing lines of business to be able to come with transformation initiatives, I think it's really important that the mindset of the C-suite changes from being, let's do large transformational projects that will have a huge material impact, but may take a lot of time to get across the line. And let's shift that to lots and lots of small initiatives that are owned by the line of business, that are delivered by the line of business, and are very, very quick to get in place and realize a return on investment. It's kind of like a rinse and repeat type scenario. And Danny, I know that you're developing some great products that align to that, so I won't steal your thunder. But what it also goes to is working for a great company where your C-suite understand that delivering the right tools helps when it comes to employee experience, but also employee empowerment as well. And I think that that's vital. So to circle back after all of that, I've seen transformation at a large scale done incredibly well, but it usually takes a lot of time and considerable expense. What I'm starting to see now is tools that foster agility, a little bit of self-service in there, so that organizations can create that muscle memory to be able to find a process or an area that needs to be improved, make that improvement, measure it, celebrate the return on investment, and have a queue of people waiting to do the what next.
Sounds awesome.
Thanks, Kate. Some amazing insights there. Thank you for sharing. Let's just hand it over to Danny now, because I know that you've got some great stories to share with us. So with your experience in product management, how can leaders align technology and process innovation with their business strategy and still deliver great customer experiences?
Well, that's a great question. And I would start by saying, don't do tech for tech's sake. That's probably the first place to start.
Sure.
Tech should be done in pursuit of your business objectives. And ultimately, your business objectives should be driving customer needs and based on customer problems that you're trying to solve. So they really should, in theory, line up nicely. It's really important to ladder up your tech to your business objectives in order to see those impactful results. And as Keith mentioned before, simplicity is the key. Start simple. It doesn't have to be big transformation. You know, nobody wants that fear of, hey, I've put a lot of investment into this product delivery. I really want to see results from it. It's been a year in the making, and then you're so focused on it and it just doesn't land. It's much more effective to be agile in the way that you deliver. Something that we're really keen on here at Nintex, and something that we drive within product, is it's a journey that you see from start to finish. It's really important to think about that end-to-end experience. So when we talk about digital transformation, we talk about, you want to gather your requirements, what it is that you need. You might want to do process capture, right? Really capturing how the processes work today. You want to understand them, really understand what it is that you want to do to drive improvements, and then automate it, and then monitor and adapt and adapt. And if you can find, it's that 80-20 rule. If you can find that 20% of things that will make 80% of the impact in terms of your efficiency that align up to your business goals, and you drive on those and you get feedback quickly and you're looking and monitoring constantly, success is much easier and much less risky.
And much more fun.
Thanks, Jenny. There's so many great things that you shared there. I'm looking forward to diving deeper into some of the things we spoke about earlier. And one of those things was that you've often spoken about simplicity and continuous exploration in product development. I'd love you to talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Continuous improvement is a cornerstone of product management and something that we take very seriously here at Nintex. You can't deliver great products without constantly getting feedback from your customers and being customer-centric. If it's not solving a problem for your customers, you're not doing it right. And so that's something that's very important to the way that we work here. Along with that, I want to just dive into less about the simplicity, because simplicity is something that we deliver for our customers, but more about empowerment. I'd like to just circle it back towards empowerment, because simplicity and continuous improvement only really adds the value when you're empowering the people to use the tools that they can to deliver that innovation. And so it's not just about having the right tools, it's about having the right mindset.
Sure.
And just circling back on that concept of, simplicity with that, we have 3 key rules in product at Nintex, right? It needs to be complete, it needs to be connected, and it needs to be convenient. It's really important that we create products that are easy to build, easy to use, and can extend easily. And what we mean by that is those without technical skills can use these tools to make their lives simpler. And so that's...
I love that. Can I add another C to that as well?
Please.
It's okay. Confidence. Our customers need to have the confidence to be able to not only show up with something to improve, but actually take it on board from woe to go and deliver that without having to go through huge budgets for professional services, without having to go through timely and costly procurement cycles, having that confidence. So I think what I love about the way that Nintex develops its solutions is that it's very easy to build that confidence up. Once you've got 1 or 2 under your belt, the replication of that becomes really a much easier journey. And that's where, as I mentioned before, this muscle memory comes into play. So yeah, I think confidence is one that we really need to add to that.
That's a really key point. Removing the fear. It's a really key point for us. And once they've got those tools in their hands and they feel confident to make those small wins, it just grows and grows and grows.
It does. And I think that, it's almost like we talk about a cookie cutter approach, where we're replicating things. And one of the things that I absolutely love is that our customers are actually sharing some of the use cases that they're developing through the Nintex portal, so that our other customers can actually just come and steal them, download them, and put them in place themselves.
Awesome.
And so again, that adds to another C, community. Ooh. Look at this, I'm coming up with all these. So, creating a connected community of confident people.
I love that. That's so on point. And can I add one more little thing? Just one more thing, right?
Please.
Which is the really important thing I also want to say on this point. Sorry, we're on such a roll. Is that, you don't want to move costs. So the whole aim of efficiency here is to, reduce the cost and reduce the inefficiencies within your team and manage your resources better. And if you're ending up giving your team tools that take a lot of time and resources to do training, to support, to troubleshoot, well, you've not addressed the problem. You've just moved the cost. And so it's really important, and it's something that we hold dear, is making that simplicity a reality.
That's awesome. I have another question, and maybe this is one for both of you, but Danny, I'm going to start with you. How should executives handle digital transformation to make sure innovation meets customer needs?
Oh, customer centricity, key to everything. I think I mentioned this about how we work at Nintex prior, which is customers at the heart of what we do. I really recommend when we talk about, starting small, really thinking about doing a proof of concept or doing a beta program, bringing customers in early, doing brainstorming sessions with them. Any touch points that you can get with customers that you're bringing them in along the way will grow your confidence in what it is that you're delivering and that it actually solves the problems you're trying to address with them. To me, customer centricity is at the heart of transformation. If you are not solving problems for your customers, then what are we here for?
Absolutely.
I look at it in a couple of ways. As a leader, I have to think about my internal customers as much as my external customers and what their needs are as well. When I first started off in the field of process improvement in the mid-90s, there wasn't very much technology that was around. We didn't have apps that could speak to you and work with you in the way that you wanted to. And they actually called that era, when the technology started to appear, the age of the customer. This is the first time that we started to do insurance claims that didn't have paper. This is the first time that organizations started to manage by exception. Let's not look at 10,000 insurance claims. Let's look at the 500 that aren't quite right. And let's circle that back. So I think that it's very natural for us to think about the customer, but I think what we also need to think about is how they want to consume things. When they want to consume things, which usually needs to be in their own time.
Absolutely.
But also, we need to put things in the background that enable the process to go from start to finish as well. And so I think when it comes to leaders thinking about customer centricity, I think it's a very, very broad topic. But the way that I would summarize it is having the right technology, speaking to the right people in the right way at the right time.
Yeah. Spot on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
So these are a few questions for the both of you. And Keith, maybe I'll start with you because you're on a roll. Look, we're in really uncertain times. The last 4 or so years have been no exception. How can executives help their team stay resilient and decisive during digital transformations?
Yeah, the culture of change is such an interesting topic. We hear about change fatigue. We hear about large projects stalling halfway. We hear about expectations being set that aren't realized. We hear all of these stories that a lot of people can become quite scared about. But when it comes to leadership, my view is that we have, as I mentioned before, we have to create an environment where people get access to good data and feel safe to be able to come forward with efficiencies. And, change can be very difficult. Yeah. But what we also have to remember is that as a workforce, we don't like doing repetitive tasks anymore, right? We want to be able to do things smarter and more efficiently. And I am going to open up the AI can of worms here in terms of, using AI and technology to be able to augment repetitive processes that allow people to turn up to work and leave more engaged and as if they've made a true impact. And I think that when we look at Asia, for instance, where we do a lot of work, a huge population of people who are 30 or under who will not do those types of tasks. They expect the technology to be provided to do those tasks. So if we want to attract the best talent into our organization, we have to provide them with the tools that enable the people that want to work more effectively and more efficiently in. And I would suggest to any leader that looking for those tools and trying to find those areas that can keep people engaged is the way forward, as opposed to looking to do those big bang type projects that can often end up with a lot of effort and not a huge amount of reward after.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, carrying on with the AI concept, but also talking about how we've evolved, right, in terms of the products that we deliver to customers. You start out, originally it was all about automation, and there was a lot of work that went into, well, how do we work out what we're going to automate and how we automate it, a lot of management of that automation process. Now, like you say, the new world, people don't want to spend time doing that. They want the tech to tell them where they need to optimize. What are the suggestions for better optimization here? Where could we do better? What best practices can we put in place? Less of the manual workaround of trying to manage the automation, but actually let the automation do the work for you. And I think AI is a really interesting part of that because that is a hot topic. Everyone's talking about it.
Everyone.
Alicia, we talked about it earlier.
We did.
It's on everybody's lips. But I think the problem with AI is that everyone thinks they need it, but they don't know why. We know it's a critical cornerstone of our business now. We need AI.
But where?
But
what
where
do we
and
do?
why? And so that's really the problem to solve with AI, right? Which is AI, again, if you bring it back to what we were saying before about don't do tech for tech's sake. Right? It has to be in pursuit of your business goals and your customers' needs. In our case, we look at that and go, people don't want to spend all their time trying to build automations, trying to capture their processes. They don't want to spend time building those applications. How does AI expedite that for them and do the work for them? How does it help them learn and get through that learning curve? Because people don't also want to spend time, surprisingly, reading help documentation, right? How do you get it to do the work? And most importantly, like you said, having data in your hands, right? AI is fundamental for that. We don't all have the money for 1,000 data scientists, right? Maybe some companies do, but even those I'd question, why do you want to spend all that money there when the tools can do it for you? So it's about getting the tools that can help you with that, and then that grow up story. That's really the fundamental part. If you're going to start simple and you're looking at, platforms and tools that are in a way quite frightening because they offer so much, start small and have a product that can build with you, that can scale with you and can take you where you're looking to go, wherever you are on that transformation journey.
I think that's really interesting because just listening to what we're talking about at the moment, I'm just imagining a lot of people that are watching us thinking, this sounds amazing, but where do I start? And it's like that piece of homework that you just never did, right? Or you constantly put off. So, I mean, I've got my own views on this, but where do you start for the people who are listening at the moment? What do they do? What's their call to action when they've stopped looking at this content?
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. Where I would suggest starting is looking at, in your day-to-day, where are you spending inefficient time, right? Look at what it is that's on your to-do list. Look at the things that you're doing every single day, all of the tasks that you're doing. We all know this from stats, that we spend a lot of time doing work that we don't need to. In fact, we spend 20 hours on average a week looking for data where we don't know where it lives, for example. That's just one, right? So have a look at where we're spending that additional time and then think about how we can be optimizing that. We don't have to start big. How in your day-to-day and within your team can you do that? Have a look back at your company goals. Have a look back at your team's goals and see how the things that you want to do in terms of efficiency within your team are going to lead you to bigger success towards those goals. To me, that's where it starts, right within your day-to-day.
Yep.
Thank you both. Oh, I'm loving this chat with you. We've got a few more questions to go. So looking to the future, maybe this is one for you, Kate, to answer. How can leaders innovate and future-proof their organizations with process management while balancing big ideas with the daily realities of business transformation?
Yeah, good one. So over the last few weeks, I've been having lots of conversations with organizations who have just jumped straight into automation. I want to automate anything I can possibly get my hands on. And then they get to the point where they go, well, what do I automate next? We've taken the big rocks. Where do we go from here? And we ask the question, how are you managing your processes? And they go, well, what do you mean by managing our processes? They reside in PowerPoint or in Visio. I mean, that's what we look at and that's what we work with. And I guess the concept that I put forward to them is that what you need to probably do is take a bit of a stop when it comes to automating, because you don't actually know whether you're automating a process that is in its best form. So we talk a lot about process mapping, process management, having all of the processes stored in one place, but also the ability to be able to actually capture processes that you didn't even know existed. So what I would say to any leader at the moment that's going on that journey is continue to automate, continue to use RPA, but make sure that you reverse back on that at some point, because the more that you automate, the more that you need a technology or a service that's going to be able to provide you with a platform or a foundation to be able to actually manage, map, measure, and store your processes all in one place. And when we talk about that, we get an amazing reaction. The question is, how do we go about doing that? And that's not one for this conversation at the moment. But certainly, if you're a leader or you're looking after a line of business and you have processes in your organization, think to yourself, Where am I storing them? Does the rest of the business have access to them? How do I actually wrap money around that in terms of the time that I'm spending? And I think that if you want to engage with Nintex more, we can actually help you understand how to do that.
Absolutely. It brings to mind the term progress, not perfection.
Oh, love it.
We're doing well with the cliches today.
Yeah.
Mantra for product management.
Yep. Fantastic. Oh, look, we've got 2 more questions. This one's for Kate. With your passion for building inclusive, high-performing teams, how can leaders encourage team members to step out of their comfort zones and keep improving?
Yeah, okay, that's a really interesting one. So, stepping outside of your comfort zone is a really, really interesting thing. And it's something that I was asked to do on a day-to-day basis. I am inherently a salesperson, and salespeople need to step out of their comfort zone every single day. What leaders need to do is be able to provide an opportunity for people to be able to do that without judgment, without being in any way disencouraged to be able to do that. And so it really does boil down to having a culture and an environment that everybody is pointing in the same direction. And with fear of repeating myself again, it has to be fun, and people need to be rewarded and celebrated for being able to bring those things to the table. If you create an environment like that, your business will prosper.
He says process automation is boring, eh?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Oh, thanks, Kate. Danny, I'm going to take this in a different direction just for our last question. You emphasize the importance of understanding users' needs in driving innovation. How can leaders apply this principle during digital transformation to ensure that their teams deliver truly impactful solutions?
Oh, good question. I feel like I'm harking back to some of my older comments here, but customer centricity is key. And so making sure that the team cross-functionally is all working towards the same customer goals, and making sure that there is processes in place to make sure that the data and the tracking of the changes that are being made are being escalated, discussed, innovation is happening from them, and decisions are being made on the back of them, enables the problem solving that you need to think about the customers in this, right? It's making sure that you're having regular conversations with your customers. It's making sure that you're looking at the user data that is driving the customer's behavior. It's making sure that you're aligned cross-functionally with the goals that you're looking to achieve, and that it's actually hitting the goals and the KPIs that you've put aside for this transformation. These are all of the kind of user-centric behaviors that you need to have in order to de-risk and focus on the customer needs and make sure you don't go off the rails here. But again, going back to, it might sound boring, but which it's not, but going back to process, right? Which is gather, understand, automate, monitor. These are all things that you should be able to do with the same tool.
Yeah, and if you don't have the confidence to try and, or the time to really understand what process is or where you're at in your process maturity, this is probably a good time to be able to talk about the process maturity calculator, which I certainly find really, really interesting when I look at sales processes. So I'm not sure which one of you wants to go into that in more detail. The process maturity calculator,
which is a tool that that customers can use. You can jump onto our website and basically, there will be a few questions to ask. And you can basically find out where you're at on that scale. It's very intuitive. We've just released it, so we'd love to hear your feedback. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we close off. But we know a lot of our staff members have tested it out, and a few of our customers have tested recently, and we've been getting some great feedback so far.
Good answer. Put you on the spot there.
You did. I love it. Thanks, Kate. That's what I love. On that note, I've had the best time speaking with you both, and it's been so enjoyable. And I really wanted to thank you for your energy and your comments and your insights. And I wanted to thank our audience for being with us today. It's been such a pleasure in having you join us for our first conversation in the series. We'd love to hear your comments, so please feel free to leave a comment in the section below, or any questions that you have. We've got people available to answer as they come up, and we'll get onto them as soon as we can. In one of the comments, we'll also leave a link to the process maturity calculator, so please take a look at it and let us know your thoughts. Thank you very much for joining us as part of the Process Unboxed series, and we look forward to seeing you again for the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.